So, a year of miracles, doing a course in miracles, a course for your life, for our awakening, dropping away of really illusions. We're going to talk a lot more about illusions. That's all we're really doing. Allowing the false, the negative beliefs, the false interpretations of everything to fall away, so that naturally we raise in consciousness, expand in awareness. A lot of people talk about expanding consciousness. We're here on the planet to, all right, raise the vibes. The other equation, the part of the equation is if you have an anchor, if you have heavy weights dragging you down that you don't see because it's out of your awareness, in your subconscious, in the shadows, then you can try to raise vibes all you want, but we need to acknowledge these blocks, the blocks. So, when I started this just on January 1st, 2 days before, I really didn't even have an idea that I would be doing this, the whole year program, let alone offering it to all of our new family around the world. And so much has been unfolding so rapidly. It's been expanding so much quicker than I envisioned. I thought I would be offering just maybe once a week check-ins, and immediately the first day it just evolved. Like, here's the first commentary, as much support as I can possibly offer you guys. And it turned into the second day. I got to do a second day of commentary. Okay, a third day, and it's every day. And I see what Spirit already had in plan. As more and more people of you guys are joining in, it's showing me that, yeah, it's time. And there's a global awakening. And so many of your stories, your course has been sitting on your shelf for years or decades. I've been hearing that story for 15 years. Since I started the course, this is one of my motivations for sitting here and offering all of this support, is that so I've gone through the complete workbook numerous times, and the text and manual for teachers, the 3 volumes. But what I've noticed, I can't help but notice, so many of the people I know, friends, whether it's in person or online, get excited about starting this new Course in Miracles, and they're so excited, they got the book, and then what? People don't get very far. They really don't get far. The failure rate is so high. And so after these years, I'm like, what is it about the entry level into this powerful program? And so anything I can do is there anything I can do to help change that? Like, can we do anything about this? This resistance rate? So here I am. Here we go. We've been diving into it. I love your feedback. I love your support. I love your, the energy coming back. And it's just taken on a life of its own. It's beautiful. Thank you for being here. It's a global connection. So this motivation, at the beginning, I made a first intro video and I suggested, David Hawkins, who, the Power versus Force, Scale of Consciousness creator, he found through his muscle testing that course students who started, and by the time they got to around less than 90, their power, their measurable body muscular kinesiological power went strong, tested strong after 3 months of doing these lessons. If we can make that single goal, at least that first major landmark, that's a huge accomplishment, I think. From there, I think you can figure out if you're ready and motivated to continue. But even just making it to that 3-month mark, can you imagine the amount of awakening power that we generate collectively in our bubble here, which then feeds into, it's always rippling into the whole collective. Everything we do affects the whole, which motivates me to have always been all these years doing my regular practices and meditations, because every minute I spend in my God connection, it is helping thousands of people in a way that I can possibly never know about. So that's the 3 month mark. Now, many are familiar, just to start a new habit, it takes 3 weeks. To solidify a new pattern, a new habit, it takes about 21 days. So, if you're still with me, I already know that some of you have already stepped away. Already, we're 6, 7 days into it, and I understand not everything is for everybody. Some people are just curious, testing the water, and it's not for them. That's perfect. That's not everything is for everybody. Now, for the majority who I know you got it in you. It's just that extra. How do you make it stick? And so 3 weeks. Can we do 3 weeks? 21 lessons? No matter what. That's my slogan. No matter what. And so I'd love to share quickly the second phase of my Course in Miracles, I started in 2018. And so when I started, I was like most people, super excited, passionate through the roof. I couldn't wait to dive in, and I did it. I did every day for 10 days, 20 days, unstoppable, 30 days. Here is what inevitably happens. The ego resistance, the ego backlash, sooner or later kicks in. And I remember by about lesson 40 for me, give or take, the dark, heavy cloud set in and the resistance. I couldn't do it. I didn't want to do it. I lost my drive. I lost my motivation, right? The dark resistance set in. But here's what happened, and here's what I'm hoping to impart with you guys. I already committed to myself when I began that I will complete this no matter what. Those 3 words again. So what I did is I forced myself to read every lesson, and they're a little bit more substantial by that point. And I forced myself every morning to just read it. I was not interested in the words I was reading. I didn't care. Nothing was sinking in, so I thought. But I did that day 41, 42, 43. And it was about roughly 10 days of that heavy, dark period. And then somehow it just lifted. The veil lifted, right? No matter what, it felt like I was like army crawling, just dragging myself through the mud because I refused to quit. I already committed. And the payoff was that's the last time I ever felt that resistance. To this day, that was 5, 6 years ago, whatever. Meaning, there's like this gravitational field, this pull that our ego has, that's been strengthened and strengthened this whole lifetime and countless lifetimes. And so when we have that pledge, that absolute burning desire, I will not quit no matter what, eventually you lift off. Things get better. Yeah, so when you want to quit, because you will, and the resistance comes in all various forms. And so to be alert, to be able to identify it. What kind of forms does the resistance wanting to quit? Basically, it's the ego. We have to learn how to identify the ego sabotage mechanisms. Oh, I'm just too tired today. That's an alert. Catch it, observe it, recognize that's your ego wanting you to pull you back down into the mud forever. I don't have time. I'm just too busy. You scroll Facebook and you see some of my posts. I think it's possible to find some time, right? That's a priority. It's just a matter of priority. Any other number of, excuses. This is too stupid. I don't believe this. I changed my mind. So, yeah, I just feel like being the cheerleader. It's possible to break through this barrier that seems to stop so many people from their empowerment, coming alive, truly. So 3 weeks. Can we do 3 weeks? Motivation. I posted the question to you guys. Get clear on why you're doing this, right? You need a powerful why. The reason and the purpose is what will drive you through. and help you to find a reason to go on. You need a reason to carry on. If you don't have a strong goal, what are you aiming for? There's no juice to kind of pull you. So when I described, I went through that 10 days of darkness. What prevented me from quitting is I knew already what's on the other side, because many years ago I've already gone through the whole program. I spent 3 deep years submerged into this amazing material. So I got it at some level. The power, the transformative truth, timeless truth that is found in this. So I already had that why, and that helped me to not give up, hang on. When it comes to questioning, I'm, by the way, looking at my notes here. Anytime a resistance to some of the ideas comes up, expect it. Some people have already been commenting to me. They doubt maybe, or they're skeptical, or they question this belief, the lesson title. Of course you will. Because we are of the ego realm, of the lower dimensions here, the densities. We are trapped in 3D time and space. Trapped in time and space. So we have every reason to justify keeping us in the status quo, how we've been in for ages. Our entire identity, our entire way of life, everything we know is rooted in not learning, is depending on not learning these lessons, is sticking to our old programming, the old conditioning. So the biggest threat of these lessons is it's now undoing. It's undoing our ego bondage. And, right, it's crazy to think that we actually are sticking to and clinging to our ego bondage. We think we are free, but no, I mean, unless you're bliss, peace, 24/7, you see from outside of time and space, you have mastered the laws of everything here, we're not free. Ego is going to be tricky and conniving to want us to get us out of these lessons. So one of the suggestions is, when you're doubting some of these lessons, how would you see it from a higher perspective? How would a higher self see this? You know, if you go up in the hot air balloon perspective, when you see from way above the whole battlefield here, things look different. You know, how would Jesus see all of this? Not like us, right down here at this low level, right? So higher perspective, think higher. Is it possible to temporarily suspend our doubt and judgment of these lessons? What if it is true? You know, what if there's a higher perspective I don't see yet? The answer is, of course there is. There's always a higher perspective. There is always, always, always a higher perspective. Is that a fact? Can we agree that's an undeniable fact? Let's go with that. Alrighty, so the Facebook group, things are evolving on their own. Your routine, you should have a routine hopefully by now. 1, read your lesson. You should have either a book or an app on your phone or the website on your computer. There's many ways to access these lessons, but just to develop a routine, quick access, easy to find way to find your lessons. Don't depend on my posts. I don't post the actual lessons. I post my commentaries about the lessons. So priority is actually your core. So have that routine every morning. Secondarily, I do have the commentaries that apparently they're a daily thing. And so how do you check them? There's no notification. There's no auto delivery of these Facebook posts in the private group. So second routine is just to check in manually every day, check in, and throughout the day sometimes. Also, if you engage on the posts, like, comment, engage, what it shows Facebook is it teaches the algorithm in Facebook, oh, this is important to you, you want to see more of this, so then it will show up in your feeds more often, regularly. So that's a way to manually kind of boosts these commentaries and other supplementary posts. So engage. Second reason for engaging is the community vibe. We're not doing these lessons alone. One of the motivating juicy factors is that we're not doing this alone. There's other people, our community members here, doing these lessons at the same time. Some staggered, different lessons, doesn't matter, on different days. But knowing that we're not alone, so getting the feedback. I love hearing your experience, and it's important for other people to literally hear others' experiences. Because chances are, if you have an idea or a question or a struggle, somebody else will relate to it. They will be curious. And so we can all pitch in and engage in conversation. Ideas come alive when we discuss. Back and forth creates an energy. So discussion creates energy. And it helps us to stay motivated and apply them and get them deeper. By the way, the energy, geez, that's the other... When I started this January 1st now, I have so much energy. I forget to eat some days. We were heading out to one of our evening course gatherings 2 days ago, and I realized I haven't eaten yet. I should eat before we go to the gathering at 7 p.m. because I have so much energy. It's so... In your life, I'm sure you've noticed, if you're passionate about something, you found a commitment, a goal, when you found a purpose that fires you up, right? It brings you alive. It brings you online. So I'm happy. This is just I didn't realize how much I love this and appreciate this even for myself until I started doing these last week with you guys. So anyway, I'm happy. Win-win. I'm happy that I could be useful as you guys are sharing with me. You guys are really appreciating this. All right. The Facebook group is set to private. It's a private group. That's for a reason, because it's just hopefully providing an extra safe space, a safe container in order to allow all of this sharing I am encouraging. If you're in a time zone like Australia, where you're, I think, 18 hours ahead of me, you're well into your next day, your next lesson. Even though I try to post the lesson before I go to bed, it's already too late for you. So one of you have already found out a very creative, clever solution. Hold yourself back one lesson. Just pause where you are, and so you can kind of join our time zone. That's just an idea. It's up to you. New people are joining at any time. So whenever you do start, you just begin at lesson 1. Read the introduction to the workbook. That's the introduction instructions. That's very important. You can also watch my introduction to the workbook video. I guess I'll link below. But wherever you are, start on lesson 1, and the rule is you do 1 lesson a day. Day 2, you do the second lesson. Every day is 1 lesson. It's just a repeatable, predictable pattern. 1 lesson a day. These lessons, this workbook is designed to be very integrative, meaning there's a portion to read, but that's not the main gist. It's not head knowledge. It's not just more intellectual activity. I'm sure I'm not alone in having spent enough time adding more head knowledge. So we're trying to make an actual experiential change in our life. Yes, get out of the usual stuck patterns and the negative emotions. So the power of the workbook is in now listening to the instructions and doing them as instructed throughout the day. 3 times a day, whatever it's for that day. 4 applications, 5 it says lately. 4 or 5 applications of just for 1 or 2 minutes. Anybody can find 1 minute or 2 minute while they're in the bathroom or wherever they are. And so it's a mind training program, rewiring of the mental circuitry. So in order to rewire our belief structures, it's not from briefly reading something and then forgetting about it for the other 23 plus hours. It's the reminders, reminders. Because we're trying to reformat the brain, literally, right? When you talk about neuroplasticity, the neurons in the brain fire a certain pathway. We basically have the same pattern of thinking every day. The highways and pathways of the neurons are branched off and solidly established. In order to create a new off branch, a new bridging of different neural connections, you have to repeat a thought and repeat it again to teach the brain there's a new information, a new way of thinking coming. So the significance of practice periods. Practice periods are the way of the workbook. So I really encourage that, remind you of that. Are you going to follow all the practice periods and meet your quotas that day? Yeah, good luck. If you do, consistently, over time, wow, congratulations. Very rare, very few get to that point. When you miss a practice period, which will happen, the ego might want to be hard on you. You might want to feel like you screwed up, like, oh, I should just start the lesson all over again the next day. No, don't. So the suggestion is, let it go. Get back on track. Just wherever you lost track, simply get back on track. Don't judge yourself. Don't be hard on yourself. Continue. And it's just like, you're going to wander off. You will. I do. And so when you do, oh yeah, I forgot. Okay, no problem. Very gently, very calmly. What's the lesson again? And apply the next application as soon as you reasonably can. So I want to just finish here with reminding the motivation, again, the why of why we're doing this. This helps us to literally transcend all of the nonsense in our lives and in the crazy world. Things that used to affect us or seem to have power over us no longer do with the application of the power of this technology. People that used to trigger us, upset us, things happening in the world, literally our perceptions are such that they're expanding to be more powerful above all of the seeming triggers out there. Because we're getting a hold of the control panel for our life, which is inside of us, in our mind, our beliefs, straightening out our perceptions, right? Because everything that we actually see and get upset about, we're not seeing them, we're not getting upset at them, we're getting upset by our own interpretation. How we are seeing is causing us that emotional feedback. So when you feel emotion, a negative emotion, this is the purpose of feelings, it is an indicator, a feedback, live biofeedback to show us if our beliefs are aligned or out of alignment with source and flow and truth and our heavenly nature. So some of these thoughts, this thought does not mean anything, actually should be welcomed and such a relief if what we are thinking about is painful, heavy, we're struggling, we cannot believe the injustice and the inhumanity in the world and the craziness, then that you will find yourself personally, some of you have already shared that it is such a liberating relief, it really is, to find out that that negative interpretation, the heaviness, does actually mean anything. It's not inherently the meaning of the situation. Thank God it's not true that there's so much craziness and I feel so upset. Thank God this is the way out of our own self-generated prison. We are the makers of our own prison. We build these walls, again, with our own meanings and interpretations. So, if somebody's still really attached to wanting things to be a certain way, just this whole desire mechanism, it's going to be hard to accept that these thoughts don't mean anything because you're still craving and seeking fulfillment in the world. So you might not be ready for these lessons. You might have to go along and suffer some more and experience more disappointments, more failures, more heartbreaks, more heartaches, and eventually get to a point, as many people do later in life, when they've really tried everything in the first half of their life. Is there not another better way? Because, every time I think I got things set up and I finally nailed the right relationship and the right circumstances, and then it all goes to SHIT and it falls apart yet again. So this is what I'm saying. There is a better way. There's a whole different better way to doing all of this, to doing life. And so 2023, it really seems, in my reality, this is a fact. This is the breakthrough year. So many of us joining in. You're telling me this is like the year you're doing this finally after so many attempts with the course. You're doing this. And I'm excited about that. And for me too. So yes, I am guiding here in this facilitating role, but I am the student. I am learning. I am doing my lessons. I have to do my lessons first. Apply my lessons to myself for my benefit. I'm doing this for me first. Before I chose to offer this course this year, I'm doing this for myself and assisting others. So, yeah, it's just win-win. Win-win, and then the third win is for the global collective. We always affect the whole. It's win-win-win. Yay! 2023 is like a celebration year. So I am committed and passionate to doing this program for the whole year. Private message me if you need to, but I also encourage, if you have questions, post them in the group, in the actual posts for others to be able to see, so we can all benefit. Yeah, it's a free service. Obviously, everything I've always been doing is basically free. If you have a inspiration, if there's a piece of your spirit that is inspired to share financially, I have now a donate option, so that is an option. So I look forward to continuing this path, this co-creative venture on this path of light. It calls itself a path of light in the text earlier. It is a course in miracles. The term miracle, it doesn't use in the workbook. It uses miracles and has a lot of discussions about what a miracle is and that we are actually miracle workers. It talks about it in the textbook, which you don't get that. So I'm just going to keep once in a while bringing in some of these other ideas. But we are training to be miracle workers. This is a year of miracles and learning how to be miracle workers. And I'll expand more on that definition because it's not the traditional, conventional way of thinking about miracles. It's more liberating, way bigger. So thank you. Be in touch. Practice those lessons. Stay fired up. Remember why we're doing this. Remind yourself how much in the future, after all these, after on the other side of all this, how much better this life experience does get. It will get 100%. I know that for a fact personally. So as bleak or crazy or as uncertain as the world situation looks, I don't care. I see it. I'm aware of all of it. But I have no control, no power over that. Do I have control and power? My internal world. We build our world from the inside out. And then like I said, the external world that loses its effect and power over you. We are rising. We are the creator beings. We are the spiritual masters who are just like waking up out of our slumber. Like literally. Wow. Was I dreaming that? That was like a crazy nightmare. Yes, we were dreaming. It was a crazy nightmare. New earth is dawning. The light is shining. It is already in existence, this new earth, because it is a higher frequency. A higher frequency is not a place. A higher frequency is a state of being. It is a state of awareness and consciousness. So sitting right here, we can tune in, we can dial in our awareness to the liberated spiritual realm, new earth, 5D, 7D, whatever. The real world. Course in Miracles uses the term real world quite often. That's kind of our goal, because There we are awake. We're not sleeping, having delusional nightmares where we're so upset and afraid and all that. So, the awakening. Cheers to that, and I'll see you online. Take care.